Did you ever do something as a kid that you didn't realize saved your life until later? When I was 7, I memorized every license plate on my street. That habit is the reason I'm alive today. I don't know why I started doing it. Boredom, probably. I was 7, and we lived on a dead-end street with 11 houses. I'd sit on our porch after school and write down every car that drove past. Make, color, plate number. I kept a spiral notebook. My mom thought it was adorable. My dad called me the neighborhood detective. My brother Wick thought I was weird. He was right. But I kept doing it because something about patterns made my brain feel organized. I knew every car on that street. Every single one. So when a white van with no plates started showing up on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I noticed immediately. I wrote it in my notebook. White van, no plates. Parks at the end of the street near the woods. Tuesdays and Thursdays. Driver stays inside, never gets out. It showed up 4 weeks in a row. Same times, same spot, same routine. Nobody else noticed because nobody else was looking. The 5th Tuesday, something changed. The van parked closer. 3 houses closer than usual. Right across from the Bellamy house where my friend Una lived. Una was 8. She walked home alone from the bus stop every day because her mom worked until 5. I wrote it down. Van moved closer. Across from Una's house. Driver watching. I told my mom. She looked out the window. I don't see a van, honey. It had already left. She smiled and patted my head. You have a big imagination. I didn't have a big imagination. I had a notebook with dates and times. The 6th Tuesday, I watched from the porch. The van arrived at 3:25. Una's bus came at 3:31. Una walked past the van toward her house. The driver's window rolled down 2 inches. Not enough to see a face, just enough to watch. I wrote everything down. The 7th Tuesday, I told my dad. He walked outside and looked down the street. The van was gone. It always left by 3:45. There's no van, buddy. Comes on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3:25. You're a smart kid. But sometimes cars just park. I went to my room and ripped out every page about the van. 7 weeks of entries. Dates, times, descriptions, location changes. I put them in a folder and shoved it in my backpack. I didn't know what I was going to do with it. I just knew nobody was listening. The 8th Thursday, I did something stupid. Instead of sitting on the porch, I walked down the street toward the van. I brought my notebook. I wanted to get close enough to see the plate because this time there was one, muddy but visible. I crouched behind the Bellamy's mailbox and wrote it down, character by character. The driver saw me. The van started. I ran, not toward my house, toward Una's. She was walking up her driveway. I grabbed her arm. Go inside. Lock the door. Why? Just do it. She looked at me weird, but went inside. The van drove past us slowly. The window was still cracked. I couldn't see the face, but I felt it looking at us. When my mom got home, I showed her the folder. All 7 weeks. Dates, times, position changes, the plate number. She didn't pat my head this time. She called the police. An officer came to the house that night. He looked at my notes, flipped through every page. Then he looked at my mom. Your son has better surveillance logs than most of my officers. He ran the plate. The van was registered to a man named Croy Dunhill. He lived 40 minutes away. He had no reason to be on our street. He had no connection to any family in the neighborhood. What he did have was 2 prior charges, both involving children under 10, both in neighborhoods with dead-end streets where kids walked home alone. The officer asked me one question. Why did you start writing down plates? Because I like patterns. You might have saved that girl's life. They picked up Croy Dunhill 2 days later. In his van, they found binoculars, a prepaid phone with photos of our street, a map with walking routes marked in red. One of those routes was Una's, from the bus stop to her front door. 7 minutes alone, every Tuesday and Thursday. He'd been timing it. I'm 22 now. Una and I are still friends. She doesn't know the full story. I've never told her about the map or the route or the 7 minutes. Last year, she asked me why I still write down license plates everywhere we go. I told her it's just a habit. She laughed. You're so weird. She's right. But that weirdness is the reason she got to grow up on our street instead of disappearing from it.